Hello, Don here again. I'm just doing a follow-up now to the video that I put on a little while ago about just giving some information on amateur builders on how to build bikes and that. I'm doing this follow-up because the one I was talking about in that video, I think I was going to call it Spidey Sense at that time, or Web Slinger. That's what it was. I was going to call it Web Slinger. That didn't turn out, and I'll show you why I was going to call it that and why it didn't turn out in a second. Just doing a follow-up because I've got the bike basically ready to go now. I think everything pretty much is done on it. I had to get it together really quick because I applied to a local car show that's going on, a hot rod show that's like a 50-year-old show, I think it is next year. They have their 50th anniversary. And applied to have a bike in there, and they actually accepted 2 of my bikes. So my bad, and the one you're going to see in a second have actually been accepted into the car show. I don't know whether I can actually say their name on here or not, but it's a local car show in Saskatoon, just down the road from us. Anyway, so the second bike is done, the old school bobber that I was doing. I'm going to grab the camera and I'm going to show you why I was going to call it Web Slinger and why I didn't do that. And then I'm going to cut in a little bit to the past video that I did, just to show you what the bike looked like at that point. And I'm going to show you what the bike looks like now that I think it's done. I think I've got everything done on it. I'm happy with it the way it turned out. So I'm going to grab the camera and I'll show you a couple quick things. So, like I said in the other video, sorry for the shakiness here, but again, doing this on my own. As I said in the other video, this bike was going to be called Web Slinger. Reason being is that I bought the tank to start with. Of course, as you can tell, I like putting gas tanks on my bicycles. The reason I was going to call this Web Slinger was because I bought this tank off the internet. Very, very cool paint job on this thing, and it was done quite a few years ago from what it said on the internet by a fairly well-known painter, and just did an amazing job of the paint job. It's been sitting on this stand that the guy actually welds onto it to do his paint job for quite a few years, and it's never actually been used. So I bought it to use for this bike, and when I got it here, it's way too big. Beautiful tank, would be a great tank for a theme bike or even just for a Spider-Man fan. So if anybody out there is looking for a Spider-Man themed gas tank, send me an email and I'll make you a good deal on this thing, because I can't use it and I'm not a Spider-Man fan, so I don't really want it sitting around. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to show you some pictures on the build-up of this bike. I hope you can see this. I can't tell if that's coming through or not. That's what it looked like in the beginning. It was one of those box store choppers. And I cut it up into pieces. And then I get on a good old computer and draw myself up what I think the frame should look like. Then I start cutting and welding, and that's where we got to. I think about last time I did the video, that's what it looked like. I probably don't even have to cut in the video here, I'll just leave it as it is. That's where it got to before I got to the powder coating. Like I said before, if you want to get something that looks really good and as tough as nails finished, get it powder coated. And here we go, drum roll. That's what it looks like now. We called them Ratical. I'll zoom in on the tank there in a second. Again, like I said with my bad, I don't like to have anything on the handlebars. I like to keep the handlebars clean. So that shifter you see on the side of the tank is actually the rear brake. Took an old 4-speed shifter from a car. It's actually a shifter from a car, and adapted it onto the side of the tank. And that's the rear brake. It's got 2-foot ape hangers on it. It's got an actual motorcycle Springer seat off of a Springer or a bobber motorcycle. Old gas tank. I called it Ratical because I bought the tank, thought it was in pretty good shape. Once I started stripping it, the tank is really dinged up. So I decided to make it into a rat rod style thing. So it's powder coated in flat black. Everything's flat black except for the few little bits of chrome that are on it. And we'll just get in close to the tank here. Guys did an excellent job when they did the lettering for me. See the little rat tail on Ratical there. Here's the shifter. Runs the rear brake. Little Springer seat. What else? The rear brakes on it, little chain tensioner that I just made up myself. A little bit of an extended bottom bracket because it's a little bit wider. It's got the 4-inch rear tire on it. One thing that's really cool, ape hangers with a little, what is it called, Live to Ride emblems on them. They had just a rectangular reflector on the back of this, and I didn't really want to have something that cheesy looking, but I noticed that it had a cross pattern in it. So I just took a hacksaw to it and cut the pattern out of the little back tail light. So now we have a little cross reflector rather than the rectangular thing that was on there. So little things like that, if you just come up with these little ideas, you can make kind of cool stuff without having to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. So that is Ratical. Like I said, it's going to be in the car show this weekend, along with, there's my bad sitting underneath the cover. He's all shined up and ready to go. I'll pull the cover off of it so you know what I'm talking about. Bear with me with the camera again. He's got no front tire on him, but there's my bad. He's all shined up and ready to go. So the two of them are going in the car show this weekend. If you have any questions, sorry I didn't get a fabrication video on here. I can try that again if I do another one in the near future, but I'm going to take a break for a while because it's taken me a while to build these bikes. So let me just throw the camera back on the stand here. Sorry for the shakiness. I hate having to do this way, but got no choice. Anyway, keep the comments and questions coming. If you want to know anything about this bike, let me know. I'm trying to remember some of the comments that came through. Can't remember everything off the top of my head, but any comments or questions, just throw them on to the underneath the video there, and I'll gladly answer them. I love talking about these things. I can do it all day. So, till something else comes along, cheers.